What's up, millionaires? It's your boy Millionaire E coming at you with a anime review. Now, the anime we're going to be talking about today is To Be a Hero X. Now, before I get started, I got some new comics and I want to show y'all some. So, the first set of comics I have here we have these two comics here. These are both The Fall of Hulk, and the reason why I've kind of gotten to like the Hulk series, especially with the Red Hulk, is because the artists that are like he's done like Jeff Loeb and Ed McGuinness. Both those artists and illustrators have done art on other comics like the Batman Superman series. So also, of course, I've got these, but then I also got this one right here, and I've loved like the artists, those two artists. Like I think it's Ed McGuinness and then Jeff Loeb. So I had to get this one right here. And then I was going to the comic store again, and I had to, I was like, it looks really nice, but I was like, you know what? Okay, I don't really like Naruto, but I was like, the art style in the comic really looks intriguing. So I decided to get the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles crossover between Naruto, as you can see. And then we have Infinity Warps, which I've never heard of, but the cover just was really cool how the characters look. And what initially Infinity Warp is, just to give you a brief, is basically Gamora. She used the Infinity Stones to fold the universe on itself. And what ended up happening is that basically created alternate heroes that were mixed up with other heroes. Meaning, like for example, you have her right here. This is basically Black Widow, She-Hulk. Then you have it's not even the Fantastic Four, but it's more of two guys. You've got Johnny Storm, who's kind of like he has the stretchy ability and he's got like invisible woman's powers, and then you have the Thing, who has basically the Thing's powers and then fire powers, and then lastly you have basically Squirrel Girl, who is mixed up with Moon Girl as well. So that's really cool, and I'm really excited to read this. And then lastly, y'all know I like to play Marvel Rivals here and there, so I've got a Marvel Rivals comic they got out here. They finally got this one, and of course I had to get I love variant, so I had to get the variant comic. But let's get into To Be a Hero X, and I have to say, this show is very interesting, and the reason why is kind of just to give you the brief of the first episode, and then I'll give you kind of some of the stuff that I liked. But the whole episode is about this hero named Nice, and it tells a story about, first we get the viewage of this guy named Lin Ling. And Lin Ling gets fired from his job, and he is about to jump off a cliff. And in the business that he works for, he makes commercials for these two, what I would say, celebrity heroes, Moon and Nice. Those are very interesting names for superheroes. And as he's thinking about jumping off a cliff, he turns around and he sees Nice, the hero Nice, walk straight off a cliff and jump. And what ends up happening is some Secret Service people grab him and they're like, you're going to become the new hero, celebrity hero Nice. So, of course, it kind of gets in with that. That's kind of how the episode kind of begins, and it's kind of talking about everything of him trying to become this hero Nice. And then also seeing like he ends up fighting an antagonist, which, spoiler alert, of course, his boss was his old boss. But I will say, kind of, that's generally what the first episode. That was the first episode that happened. But what's cool about this anime is when I first saw this anime, I saw a commercial on YouTube, and it was basically this dude like in a white suit just flicking his fingers, and it would change from like 3D animation to like 2D animation. And I was like, that's really cool. That's a really cool one. So I'm like, let me just kind of stay out to look out for this one. And getting into like watching this episode, the episode kind of reminded me of Arcane. Now I've never watched Arcane, but I've seen like the 3D art style. And this episode was mainly in that 3D art style. And then what was cool is the art styles would change sometimes. So sometimes you'd have like black and white, or you have like a more anime, a 2D anime style, which was really cool because I was like, wow. And it wasn't like out of place because it felt like it merged well. Now I will say, of course, just as kind of like I don't know. I was confused at some of the points, but I was like, okay, now I kind of understand some of the things. And the confusion was like, okay, who is this hero? How does he get his powers? And I think they explained that, but not as well, or I think I just missed it. And so they explained, basically they showed the whole episode, and like I said, the animation style was really cool. I like it, and I actually want to see more of it. What's really cool is basically I had thought first that I thought they're basically like 10 characters. Like if you go on their site, there are 10 heroes, and I thought that it was going to be each of those heroes were going to be limited to one of those animation styles. Like there might be, say, one that might have like a 3D animation style just for the entire episode. But of course, this episode, I guess, kind of changed it. Now, I could be wrong. They might do that. And I will say there's one character that's like, it's a dog with a fedora. And I was looking at his like story trailer. Like I encourage y'all to look at the story trailers of the characters so you can kind of get the gist of them. And it's interesting because he can transform into different forms. But yeah, going off of kind of the first impression of this anime, I'm like, okay, this seems actually really good. The action was fine. The art, of course, the art styles was really good. They flowed well. The characters, I might actually want to watch it in dub to see which is better. But it's an actual good episode. And I'm actually, like I said, I'm excited to see what the next episode is. And I encourage y'all, millionaires, like the video, share with your fam. And if you're subscribed, click that bell icon to be notified for more videos. And I'll see you on the next video. Bye, y'all. Have a blessed day, millionaires, and I'll see y'all later. Bye.